Welcome back to this new edition of News Today. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Process to reconstitute parliamentary committees has been started. RBI reviews Ways and Means Advances scheme of state governments or union territories. Russian satellite breaks up in space, adds space debris into orbit. FATF adopts mutual evaluation report of India. INSTC sees first Russian coal trains bound for India. Decline seen in the share of imported coal over the last decade. In our first news, we begin with important developments from the Indian Parliament. The process to reconstitute two key parliamentary committees has commenced. Motions in the Lok Sabha were moved to form the Public Accounts Committee and the Estimate Committee, both integral parts of the Parliament's financial oversight framework. Let's delve into the significance of parliamentary committees. These committees are categorized into two types: ad hoc committees and standing committees. Ad hoc committees are appointed for specific purposes and dissolve once their assigned tasks are completed. On the other hand, standing committees are permanent and regularly constituted. They include financial committees, departmentally related standing committees, and others like the committees on subordinate legislation. Parliamentary committees play a crucial role as the Parliament's watchdog over the executive. They provide a platform for building consensus across political parties, ensuring thorough scrutiny of bills before they are passed. Additionally, these committees bring technical expertise to help parliamentarians understand complex matters. However, challenges persist, such as few bills being referred to committees, lack of attendance by MPs in committee meetings, absence of full-time technical experts, and a low number of committee sittings. Now, let's take a closer look at the Public Accounts Committee. First established in 1921, following the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, the PAC consists of up to 22 members, 15 from the Lok Sabha and 7 from Rajya Sabha. Its primary function is to audit the revenue and expenditure of the Government of India, ensuring accountability and transparency in financial matters. Moving on to the Estimate Committee, this committee was constituted for the first time in 1950 and comprises 30 members from the Lok Sabha. Its functions include suggesting alternative policies to enhance administrative efficiency and examining whether funds are well allocated within the policy limits implied in the estimates. In conclusion, the reconstitution of these parliamentary committees underscores the ongoing efforts to maintain robust financial oversight and accountability in the Indian Parliament.
In our next news, the Reserve Bank of India has reviewed the Ways and Means Advances scheme for state governments and union territories, increasing the Ways and Means Advances limit from Rs 47,010 crore to Rs 60,118 crore. This enhancement aims to help states and union territories manage their fiscal situations more effectively. In addition to the WMA, the financial accommodation instruments available to states and union territories include the Special Drawing Facility and the Overdraft Facility, all of which are governed by the RBI Act 1934. Talking about the Ways and Means Advance, it is a provision that allows the RBI to extend advances to states and union territories to manage temporary mismatches in the cash flows of their receipts and payments. This facility is also available to the union government. There are two types of WMA: normal WMA and special WMA, which is now known as the Special Drawing Facility. Initially, a state or union territory can access the special WMA, and once this is exhausted, they can avail the normal WMA. The special WMA typically has a lower interest rate compared to the normal WMA, and the interest rate for both are linked to the Repo rate. Further, talking about the Special Drawing Facility, it allows the states to borrow against the collateral of the Consolidated Sinking Fund or CSF, Guarantee Redemption Fund or GRF, auction treasury bills, among others. The CSF and GRFs are reserve funds maintained by some states with the RBI. In conclusion, the overdraft facility comes into play when the financial accommodation to a state exceeds its SDF and WMA limits. Generally, state governments and union territories can avail of an overdraft for up to 14 consecutive days, with possible relaxations provided by the RBI.
In a concerning development for space operations, the defunct Russian Earth observation satellite Research P1 has broken up in orbit, adding to the ever-growing mass of space debris. But what exactly is space debris? Space debris, often referred to as space junk, encompasses all non-functional artificial objects in Earth's orbit or re-entering the atmosphere. These include fragments and elements of defunct satellites, spent rocket stages, and debris from space-based weapons like anti-satellite missiles. The highest concentrations of space debris are found at altitudes between 800 to 1000 kilometers and near 1400 kilometers, primarily in lower Earth orbits. Most of this debris originates from on-orbit breakups and collisions. The recent disintegration of the Research P1 satellite is a stark reminder of this ongoing issue. Space debris poses significant risks. For operational spacecraft and satellites, debris can cause catastrophic damage. This risk is compounded by Kessler syndrome, a phenomenon where the density of objects in low Earth orbit leads to collisions, creating a chain reaction of further debris and collisions. This escalating cycle poses a severe threat to operational safety in space. Astronauts' lives are also at risk. The sheer speed and volume of debris in low Earth orbit endanger the International Space Station and its crew. Space agencies worldwide are forced to perform collision avoidance maneuvers to protect their satellites, leading to increased operational costs. In response to these threats, several global initiatives have been undertaken. The Interagency Debris Coordination Committee was established in 1993 to coordinate efforts. The UN Space Debris Mitigation Guidelines, prepared by the UN Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, provide a framework for debris management. Additionally, the Zero Debris Charter signed by 12 countries, including Austria, Belgium, and Cyprus, represents a commitment to reducing space debris. India has also been proactive in addressing this issue. The Debris-Free Space Missions 2030 initiative aims for a significant reduction in space debris. The ISRO System for Safe and Sustainable Operations Management has been established, along with the Space Situational Awareness Control Center and the Project Network for Space Object Tracking and Analysis. In conclusion, the breakup of the Research P1 satellite highlights the urgent need for continued and enhanced efforts in space debris management.
Ahead in the news, the Financial Action Task Force has adopted the Mutual Evaluation Report of India, which assesses the effectiveness of India's measures to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing. In a significant development, the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, has placed India in the regular follow-up category, a distinction shared by only 4 other G20 countries. Established in the year 1989 by the G7, the FATF is an intergovernmental organization focused on examining and developing measures to combat money laundering. India became a member of the FATF in the year 2010. Let us first start by understanding about money laundering. It is the process of disguising the illegal origins of criminal proceeds, typically involving 3 stages: placement, layering, and integration. If we look at this process, then firstly, the money is accumulated from illegal activities. Then the money is placed into the financial system. Ahead, the money is transferred to hide the origin of the funds, and lastly, the money is returned for the money launderer to spend. Moving on, the Mutual Evaluation Report highlighted several key achievements in India's efforts to mitigate risk arising from money laundering and terrorist financing, as well as the proceeds of crimes such as corruption, fraud, and organized crime. One notable achievement is the country's transition from a cash-based to a digital economy. The JAM Trinity, or Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, has significantly increased financial inclusion and digital transactions, thereby making transactions more traceable. However, the report also made several recommendations to strengthen India's framework. These include enhancing the supervision and implementation of preventive measures in non-financial sectors, addressing delays in concluding money laundering and terrorist financing prosecutions, and ensuring that measures aimed at preventing the non-profit sector from being abused for terrorist financing are based on a risk-based approach. As India continues to bolster its defense against financial crimes, these recommendations will be crucial in refining and strengthening its existing measures, ensuring that the country remains resilient against money laundering and terrorist financing threats.
Next in the news, we bring you a significant development in global trade routes. For the first time, Russia has sent 2 coal-laden trains to India via the eastern branch of the International North-South Transport Corridor, or INSTC. These trains will transport coal to the Bandar Abbas port in Iran, marking a historic movement in the use of this extensive transportation network. But what exactly is the INSTC? The International North-South Transport Corridor is a 7,200-kilometer multimodal transportation network. It links the Indian Ocean to northern Europe, passing through Iran and Russia's St. Petersburg. Established in 2000 by Iran, Russia, and India, the INSTC aims to enhance trade and transport connectivity among countries along its route. Today, it boasts 13 member countries, including Azerbaijan and Armenia, with Bulgaria recently joining as an observer state. It comprises 3 corridors: central, western, and eastern. Now, why is the INSTC so important for India? First, it enhances connectivity to Central Asia, providing more cost-effective and efficient transport facilities. It offers an alternative route to the traditional Suez Canal trade route, reducing transit times from around 45 days to just 25 days and slashing freight cost by 30%. In terms of energy security, the INSTC bypasses vulnerable choke points like the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz, enhancing India's access to the energy-rich regions of Central Asia, the Arctic, and the Nordic and Baltic areas. Additionally, the corridor plays a strategic role in countering China's Belt and Road Initiative. In conclusion, the successful dispatch of these coal trains from Russia to India via the INSTC marks a significant milestone in international trade and transport.
Moving ahead, in recent years, the share of imported coal in India has seen a notable decline. According to the Ministry of Coal, the compound annual growth rate of imported coal fell significantly from 13.94% between 2004-05 and 2013-14 to minus 2.29% between 2014-15 and 2023-24. Under the Open General License, consumers in India have the freedom to import coal based on their commercial needs. Several measures have been undertaken to reduce the dependency on imported coal. The amendment of the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957 now allows captive mines to sell up to 50% of their annual production. Furthermore, 100% foreign direct investment is now permitted in commercial mining, opening up the sector to more foreign capital and expertise. Efforts to expand coal areas include initiating new projects, expanding existing ones, and auctioning coal blocks to private companies and public sector undertakings. Additionally, a single window clearance portal for the coal sector has been introduced to expedite the operationalization of coal mines. Despite these measures, the coal mining sector in India faces several challenges. There is a non-availability of domestically produced high-grade coals like coking coal, anthracite and low-ash thermal coal. Furthermore, there are significant outstanding dues from the power sector consumers and issues with non-payment of commensurate coal value. Unseasonal and extended rainfall in coal-bearing areas also disrupts mining operations. India boasts the fifth largest coal reserves in the world and stands as the second largest consumer of coal. In the fiscal year 2023-24, the total coal production in India reached 997.25 million tons. The country's coal deposits are primarily found in rock sequences and two geological areas, Gondwana and tertiary deposits. About 80% of these coal deposits are bituminous and of non-cooking grade. Over 97% of the coal reserves are located in the valleys of Damodar, Son, Mahanadi and Godavari rivers. Notably, the Gewra coal mine in Chhattisgarh has become the largest coal mine in India, surpassing the Jharia coal field. In conclusion, India is making significant strides to reduce its reliance on imported coal through a series of strategic measures aimed at boosting domestic coal production. The decline in the compound annual growth rate of imported coal is a testament to these efforts. In today's Space and News, we will talk about Togo with its capital Lomé. It is in news as India and Togo have reviewed their bilateral relations. Looking at its political features, Togo is a country in Western Africa. Geopolitically, Togo is bordered by Ghana to the west, Benin to the east, and Burkina Faso to the north with the Gulf of Guinea to its south. Geographically, Togo is characterized by a narrow strip of land along Africa's west coast. The highest point in Togo is Mount Ago, also known as Bauman Peak, while significant rivers include the Oti and Mono rivers. The country usually experiences a tropical climate.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The Dutch Prime Minister will take over as new Secretary General of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO was founded in 1949. Its headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium. It derives its authority from Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. India shows concern on unilateral actions to change status quo in South China Sea. South China Sea is a semi-enclosed sea in the Western Pacific Ocean. The South China Sea and the East China Sea together form the China Sea. The World Trade Organization released a report titled Aid for Trade in Action, supporting the transition to clean energy, which highlights the Aid for Trade initiative. Aid for Trade initiative is led by the WTO, grew out of the 2005 WTO Hong Kong Ministerial Conference. Kerala Forest Department joins hands with Kerala Paper Products Limited to eradicate invasive plant Senna spectabilis. Senna spectabilis is a threat to wildlife habitat in the Nilgiri biosphere, including the Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary and other sanctuaries. The opening ceremony for 29th edition of the biennial Rim of the Pacific exercise was held in Hawaii, USA. Rim of the Pacific exercise is the world's largest international multilateral maritime exercise. India also takes part in it. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has launched the National Quality Assurance Standards Assessment and Spot Food License Initiative to promote healthcare for all. NQAS assessment has been launched for Ayushman Arogya Mandirs and integrated public health laboratories. Recently, many companies are using artificial intelligence washing. AI washing is a term derived from greenwashing, where companies exaggerate their environmental friendliness. The International Monetary Fund released the Artificial Intelligence Preparedness Index dashboard. Singapore has been placed at first position and India at 72nd position. This dashboard tracks 174 economies for AI readiness. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.